Okay, there was no race this weekend, Richard.
Yeah, I missed it too.
We got some. Okay, I did too. But we had a lot of football. But we're going to answer some fans' questions, so you be careful, and I'll try to be careful.
This ought to be interesting. Okay, what's the question?
Oh boy.
What was our best memory? Winning races, I guess. Those were really good years for Petty Enterprises. We won a bunch of races, championships, and we came along at the right time and hit the right situation, I guess. So really, it was just a good time, I guess. When nothing particular except that we was winning races. Quick as the race is over, we'd jump in the car and take it home and get ready for the next race.
Yeah, like Richard says, it fell in kind of to our wheelhouse what we could do at that point in time, and it back then they was probably as much about the manufacturers of the cars as it was the drivers, So it would just I don't know, it might have been just the golden age of NASCAR racing.
It's hard to say. We've been through a lot of situations over 75 years. We've had all kinds of requests, people wanting stuff signed, body parts signed, different things. So I guess the funniest request was signing a duck. Went to the state fair, and the guy wanted something signed. I said, bring it in. And he took a duck and spread its wings, and I signed on that. So, we've had all kinds of people asking different things. Will you sign my car? It's over about a quarter mile down the road. No, that's okay. If you can bring it by here, we'll sign it.
Okay. 1969, we're going to Martinsville. Richard and Linda come by and pick my wife Mary up on the way to Martinsville. And I've gone up with the crews, so Richard wins the race, and there's a pretty good line for autographs. She gets in line for an autograph, and me and her's riding home with Richard and Linda. And, of course, Richard said, get out of here. I ain't signing that, Mary.
I guess a lot of emotions, because that was going to be the very last race that I run. So I think if I ever get emotional or ever got emotional, that was probably the most emotional that me and the whole family was, because we knew it was going to be the last of the whole deal. And, you went out and they said, just be careful, finish the race, don't race with nobody. First thing you know, I get in a wreck. Okay. So the emotions were really high. And it was just one of the deals it was one of those deals that I guess I was really glad it was over, but on the other hand, I wished I had some more left in me.
Okay, yeah, it was a sad day for me also, and went to the drivers' meeting with him, and I think his statement to the drivers was, I think he thanked them and said, okay, if y'all won't hit me today, I won't hit y'all. So I knew right then he wasn't going to race, but we had him a pretty daggone good car, and then he got back there and wrecked the daggone thing.
You were spotting him, though, weren't you?
I was spotting that day, and the car was on fire, and he said he said he's still running about 100 miles an hour, and I told him to get out. But maybe I had a purpose for that.
About 15 minutes. Okay. It was a deal, dislocated my shoulder and laying in the hospital, and the doctor said you need to wrap it up and, don't use it, because if you start using it time to time, it might jump out of joint again. So I missed 3 or 4 races or something because of it. And but as far as the deal was that I couldn't wait to get the bandage off of it so that I could get back in the car. And so the wreck didn't affect me from that standpoint, as far as, were you scared to get back in the car, but the deal was I was looking forward to getting back in the car.
Yeah, I remember it. We had 2 Superbirds at Darlington, and he didn't qualify quite as good as he had practiced, and we went back out after qualifying, and he tore the Superbird up. And Pete Hamilton had our other Superbird, and had to come home and get the Roadrunner, our short track car. and put the same motor in it, went back and had to go 2 gears lower. That's how much slower that car was.
It was a complete second slower. Yeah.
And he was trying to keep up with it, and I guess he went out there and tried to commit suicide. I don't know.
I ran into the wall.
But it helped develop the safety window, the window net, and it's been modified from what we started with, but it's still basically the same thing. So I guess, and then, I think you missed 6 races, Richard.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Your first race back was
probably cost us a championship.
But his first race back was Michigan, and I think he sat on the outside pole with the Superbird. But we come home with 3 tore-up cars. But Jake Elder come by and said, "Richard, are you sure you okay to run?" And Richard moved his right arm all around and said, "Yeah, I think I'm good, and it was really his left arm, but it suited Jake.
No, that was really neat. They'd called from California and wanted to know if we'd be in Cars 1, and said, "Yeah, okay." So Linda and myself flew to San Francisco and went over to their plant, their place where they made the movies and stuff, and went through their deal, talked to them. So they put me in a little cage, I guess, soundproof room, and said, "Okay, this is what the circumstances are. How would you say this?" So I was going through my part of what I was supposed to be saying in the movie, and in the meantime, Linda was talking to the boy that was running the show, and he asked her. He said, "How would you like to be in the movie?" "Okay, what can I do?" Said, "Well, what kind of car would you want to be?" And so she came up with a '69 Ford station wagon, because that's the first time we'd ever had a station wagon, and we'd always eat and done everything out of a trunk of a car. All of a sudden, she had a station wagon. She had a table. She loved that thing. So they wrote a place in for her right there on the spot, and we done some stuff, and then we had to go back out there another time to finish up some stuff. So that was really very impressive, and I think there's people from 1 year old to 20 years old, they don't know Richard Petty, but they know Mr. the King. Well, Dale's going to be busy mowing the yard, but then the grass ain't going to grow, so I don't know what he's going to do.
I'll be getting up leaves.
Okay, we are getting up leaves.
I want to see you get up
Sunday
leaves.
gets to be a long day watching 3 or 4 football games. That's about it. I mean, we stay busy. I'm making appearances, going to different parts of the country, looking to take care of the people that's been taking care of us. And so I stay pretty busy during the deal, and then we have our Christmas party here at the shop, and we have one at the race shop, and then my whole family comes in. I think there's 43 or 44 of us. We come in and have 2 or 3 days of Christmas. So first thing you know, it's January, and all that time you're busy trying to help them get ready for the cars, take care of the sponsor deals, and then first thing you know, February, and we go to Bowman Gray and start all over again.
Yeah, it's like he said. I'll have leaves, get up, and of course I got up this Sunday morning just thinking, no race on television or I ain't gonna be there. But we made it through with I had a team I could pull against and one that I pulled for, so all that worked good. I won't name them, but we stay busy. We got the banquets coming up and all that, and then me and Richard go to the race shop in Statesville once a week, and I guess the best way we help them is stay away and not ask too many questions. But that's about it for us.
No, I don't think anybody ever congratulated us on winning a race, but no, it was just a closer knit bunch of people at that time. The people didn't have their buses or their airplanes or any of that kind of stuff. And when you go to the next race, you get up in the back of the truck and there'd be 3 or 4 drivers sitting there and they'd talk to you, or a reporter would come by and interview you and stuff. But it was just another week. Okay, what happened last week is history. Forget it. Okay, what are we going to do this week? And we'd look around and see who we thought we had to beat this week, and so we was concentrating more on that.
Yeah, there wasn't no celebration because the next race come up pretty soon, and some of these races we went in on Thursday and practiced Friday and Saturday, and some, if not that, it'd be Saturday and Friday and Saturday. But I remember the '76 race at Daytona where Richard and Pearson wrecked coming to the checkered. I asked Richard after the race, I said, well, we're going to run at Rockingham the next Sunday, and he said, that's our best car. And so when we got home, we started working on it and went to Rockingham, won the race with that car we tore up on Sunday before, and that's just the way it was back in the day.
You mean at the racetracks? I don't know. Every one of them is surprised when they unveil it, and they've done a good job. I think it's 28 of them out there, 30 or whatever, and each one of them, each track tries to represent their track, and then they try to represent our 75. And so, what's really good about the whole deal is that they showed them this year, but they'll be there next year, the year after that, the year after that, to remind the fans that, there's been people here 75 years doing this kind of stuff, and appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, I think the hat deal, I don't know how many people was involved in it for the races and everything. Of course, there's one in the Hall of Fame at Charlotte. There's one here in the museum in Level Cross, and there's one in the shop at Statesville. So it's been a good deal, and like Richard said, it should be around a long time, and maybe they can keep decorating it and put another feather in his crown.
No, really, I think when the season was over, I looked back and said, I love to drive a race car. It's hard to get out. I should have stopped earlier because basically after we won the 200th race and stuff, I think we've finished some good races there for a couple, 3 years, but we never won anything. And the longer we run, the slower I got. And I should have seen it coming enough to say, I don't need to be doing this, but again, I love to drive the race car so much that if they hadn't made me get out, I'd probably still be driving.
I think that's true for all the drivers. He probably went a little bit longer than he should have, but and maybe we'd lost some of the touch here at Level Cross too. Getting the cars, keeping the cars up to date to where they would be competitive. But I remember one day we was over at Charlotte and we had a car in it, and me and him was leaving to come home. We went down the corner and was watching practice, and he said, boy, I'm glad I don't have to go down in that corner that hard anymore. So it was time for him to get out, and he done a great job over the seasons, no question about that.
What kind of pie? I always eat cake. I like cherry pie and I like pecan pie. So either one of them is great for me.
I don't know. I'm not much on dessert. I usually fill up on the meats, and maybe that's wrong, but desserts don't set with me every time.
Now, who do you think is the best driver?
Well, there's no question I am.
I'm going to really question that.
Okay, bud. Yeah.
Most of the time, I do the driving, and he holds on. So it works out pretty good. Every once in a while, I let him drive, but I can't hold on. So when I'm driving, I hold the steering wheel, and I feel like I got more control of what's going on.
Yeah, it's amazing to ride with him and just think other people are on his highway all the time and in his way.